absolutely ridiculous. They'll believe anything. They'll believe anything. Maybe.
Fear is a powerful emotion. Many people aren't aware, but when the AIDS pandemic or epidemic was really, really going very strongly, a lot of people were treated pretty badly just because they got sick. I don't think it's a good idea to ever put a stigma onto somebody, to put a label on a person because of something that happened to them, and then treat them like they are less than others.
They treat them like a widow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're going to get into this today. I think it's probably be one of our no idea segments. So if you aren't aware of our channel or you're new to us, welcome. Nice to have you here. You can always click on the link above and you'll be able to see why we started this channel. But yeah, we're going to get into it. So hit that like button and give us a share. And how do you say that in Chinese, Abby?
如果喜欢我们的影片的话，请帮我们按赞、分享跟订阅。
Yeah, people keep teasing me because I can't remember that. So
So
I'll get it.
You'll
right
make it
at
like a
some
song.
point, right? Yeah. So, all right. So anyway, let's get back into that topic. So, yeah, as I said, this did happen with AIDS. I think people were treated as being dirty when they had
they were
AIDS
treated
before.
like you say, label and singulates.
Like a sub-level of humans, right? And I don't think that we ever want this to happen, right? I mean, in the world today, people talk about racism and sexism, and I kind of feel like that's the same kind of issue, right? It's treating a person or a group of people as differently.
You treat
because
them
of
because they are
something, right?
different from you.
Yeah. So why we're talking about this is just we saw some news this week we thought was pretty crazy. So an American teacher was fired from a Taiwan cram school for catching COVID. Right? So if you have a look at this article, what you'll see is the reason they gave for this, right? And I think they see it here. Let's have a look. They said that this guy, a 26-year-old English teacher from the US, arrived in Taiwan December 20th and tested positive for COVID while he was in quarantine. And he told the Taiwan News that he was fully vaccinated and asymptomatic and felt fine throughout quarantine, right? So it doesn't seem to be anybody who was particularly sick or anything. And then when he returned, he was planning to go back to his cram school. And once the quarantine ended, he got a letter from the manager stating they didn't want him to come back to work. And if you look at the reason why they said this, they said that they think that it's still very possible for patients to relapse and get sick again even after 3 weeks. And I think they gave the example of a girl from Japan who that had happened to. So, yeah, I mean, this girl from Japan, like after 21 days in quarantine, she was still positive. I think people have seen this. I think as well, just to give some nuance, the PCR test, I think one of the problems they've had with it is that it can detect like dead parts of the virus for quite a long time afterwards. So I have read about this. But what do you think, Abby? Do you think that this makes sense? Do you think that this is really the reason why they did this? Or do you think they're just more, as we say, worried about some kind of a label being attached to them?
I think it's the cram school couldn't deal with the pressure from the parents or from the citizens around their village. That's not a real issue for relapsing. I don't think they worry about the virus. They more worry about the opinion from the parents and from the citizens. Because if they are unhappy, those cram school couldn't earn money or their kids will just quit.
Yeah.
So I think the economy thing is what they worry more.
Sure. And as I said, that's why I started the segment with the word fear. They have fear that it will affect their business, right?
Yeah.
But like at what point do you let your fear control your behavior and control what you do, right? Because this doesn't seem to make sense, right? I mean, like, the parents might be unhappy that somebody had caught COVID before, but it's not really, as I say, very realistic, right?
I know, but just like if they have to, I think from their side, if they have to just deal with their clients, they have to deal with their clients' fear.
Do you think they would do the same thing if it was one of the Chinese teachers? Because at the cram schools, they have a few foreigners, and then the majority of the staff are the Taiwanese teachers who teach Chinese and stuff. The Anqingban, right?
That's
Yeah.
that's a good question.
So do you think they would do the same thing? I don't think so, right?
I think they probably will ask the Chinese teacher just stay at home for more long time, maybe a month, and then they can go back. Just not to go back immediately, maybe just take more time.
So I actually have some experience with this. So at the last school that I worked at, the school hired a girl to come and work at the school. She was Indian.
Okay.
And the parents did not want this girl to come. I mean, her English was perfect. If you talked to her on the phone, you wouldn't even know she was Indian. She sounded just like an American. And she was really cool. I got to know her. She was great. But when she joined, the parents said, hell no. The one group of parents said, listen, I'm friends with at least 4 other families here. If you combine all of our kids, it's probably like around 10 kids. If you employ her, we're all leaving.
Huh?
Yeah.
Because I think India's
They just didn't
English
they wanted a white
doesn't-
person to teach their kids.
it's like weird.
So like,
So weird.
yeah, so when I see this thing, I wonder really if this was truly about the 21 days, or they just didn't want anyone who had COVID to be, to be teaching there because they're worried about this label being attached to them.
Oh, yeah. From this case, would you feel like a foreigner in Taiwan would be more easy to treat differently?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, big time, right?
Big time.
Yeah.
Like I think if they are Taiwanese, they were treated differently. I guess because I think Taiwanese have more resource. They know how to fight. They know how to negotiate. They know maybe they can have some document or some rules. So they will treat them more carefully, treat kind of thing more carefully. But for foreigner, they think, oh, maybe you don't know too much and you don't want foreigner don't want to get trouble. So maybe it's easier to just
Yeah, look, I mean,
fired and
foreigners in Taiwan definitely get treated quite differently. Like when I got divorced, I started using online dating. I saw a cute girl from the Philippines on one of these dating websites, and I actually wanted to go and meet her and have a date, but it was impossible because she
What?
worked at a factory.
Okay.
And I'd never known about any of this, but she was like, we have to be back by 6 o'clock.
Oh.
And then we have lights out at a certain time. Their lives, she explained it to me, their lives were completely controlled. So I said to her, I was like, have you ever been to the beach in Taiwan? No. She'd been living here for 2 years. Hadn't been to the beach, hadn't seen Taipei 101, hadn't been anywhere, any sites at all. She just had to be in the dormitory and go to work, and you get 1 hour or 2 hours off and then get back.
It's like
I know, it's
prison.
I was shocked. I was like, what? What's going on here, right? And then, so obviously I didn't ever get to go on a date with her. But also when I got married initially, I mean, that must be 12, 13 years ago now. Even when I got married, I couldn't get a cell phone contract in Taiwan. Even though I was married to a Taiwanese citizen.
you couldn't get a phone
I
contract.
could not get a phone contract.
So it's like a prepaid car.
I had to get my ex-wife to do it for me, to get me a phone in her name. Also, getting a credit card was almost impossible in Taiwan until I started earning enough money. Now they're very happy to give me cards, but before I couldn't get a credit card at all.
Oh.
Right? Even though my income level at the time was the same as many Taiwanese people, I couldn't get a credit card. Couldn't get any kind of loan. Couldn't get a phone.
It shocked me.
I know. It was crazy. I mean,
Before?
I assume it's gotten better now because I can get these things now, but maybe it's because my income has gone up. But I also figured out at the time that the reason why those rules were there actually weren't for me. I don't think that they were looking at Western kind of foreigners. I think that those rules were more aimed at Indonesians and Filipinos or people from Vietnam and stuff, which does not make it better. It's actually even worse.
More racist.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I understood why it was happening at the time. That's how I kind of figured out the justification for it. But foreigners really are treated differently in Taiwan. Yeah, big time. And then a lot of the time, being a white guy, you get treated better. But then occasionally you get some people who just hate foreigners. Like I had a police officer this week treated me horribly, just I think because I was a white guy. Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of this kind of race stuff going on. Yeah. So I don't know why, but it definitely seems. So you had no idea about any of this, right?
I have no idea. Just recently, I just heard from this kind of cases. Because like Taiwanese always like to say, "Oh, the beautiful view in Taiwan is people, it's friendly people."
Sure. But
I still
not experienced by everyone though. Like that Filipino girl, she'd lived there for 2 years and hadn't seen a thing, hadn't enjoyed Taiwan at all, just spent time in the dormitory.
And I think maybe they will feel like uncomfortable in Taiwan as well, because I think Taiwan is Taiwanese sometimes are racist. They treat different countries.
I mean, look, let's be honest, they're racists everywhere.
Yes, they're racist.
And I think a lot of it comes from ignorance, and people just feel someone's different to them. I mean, another one, have you seen how the maids get treated here? Like if you have a full-time maid, I've heard from a lot of these people, you get 1 day off a month.
Oh.
A month.
That's a faithful labor law.
I don't know, but it happens. But a lot of people
maybe
do
they
work
need money,
illegally.
so they have illegally, right?
Yeah, 1 day off a month.
That's too crazy.
Yeah, I've heard that from quite a few people, right? So
for me, I think I heard like 1 day a week.
I'm sure there must be some people.
But
who
I
do
think
that, yeah.
1 day a week, maybe it's I don't know. For like a whole day, like for the full time maid, and you only have the one day per week. I think it's really exhausting.
Sure,
for me.
But at least 1 day a week, I think is semi okay.
Yeah, semi okay.
But I've literally heard from people from their own mouths like that is true. 1 day a month. So like people get treated, I don't know, pretty badly, right? Yeah, and I've seen some of these people who push the old people around.
The caregiver.
Yeah, and I've also heard about them being treated pretty badly. In fact, I know one guy who's a doctor. His parents are both doctors, and he was complaining because I think his dad got sick, and people were treating that maid extremely badly as well.
Yeah. They think the trade is like less people, but they have to think for those maid or the caregiver because they help you. You like those people, they don't have time or they are unwilling to take care of the old people, so they hire someone to help them, right? They should be thankful.
Sure, but I think people are taking advantage of the fact that if you go to the Philippines and you see what people actually earn there, it's really low.
Yes.
So, yes, you could be a full-time maid in Taiwan. You're earning 3 or 4 times what you could earn. So then people know this, so then you take it because you're earning more, you can send money home. But that's terrible. That's taking advantage of people because you know that you're paying them more than they could earn in their own countries. But yeah. But anyway, let's get back to this. So there is good news with this thing, right? So the guy had a letter from the company. So he said that in response, he sent the outrageous termination letter to the Legal Aid Foundation. And the Ministry of Labor then called the school about it. And after being contacted by the Ministry of Labor, the school agreed to pay this guy an out-of-court settlement, and he gets to keep his work visa.
Out-of-court settlement?
Oh, yeah, it means you don't have to go to the court, and then he got to keep his visa. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when they fire him, he couldn't have his work visa.
Yeah.
He had to go back within 3 months, right?
So, good job, Taiwan government, for that. Bad job, Taiwan school, I'd say. Yeah, right.
They don't deal with this nicely.
Yeah. But as you see, right, so racism, as we were talking about, is everywhere.
It's everywhere, but
this kind of thing as well happens everywhere. Like, I mean, even in South Africa, they're the neighboring countries, and you get people who come from those neighboring countries to work in South Africa, and they also get treated pretty badly by the South African people. I think it might just be something about people that when someone's different to you, you know, people see them as a threat or just different or something like that, right? But it happens. Well, what I don't like though is especially when it comes to medical stuff, because if you get sick, right, you can't control that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy, he was vaccinated and everything, so he did
You
what he
couldn't- yeah,
could,
you
but he still got
control.
sick.
Mm-hmm.
It's not his fault. So
Yes.
I don't think you should be punished for getting sick, right? That's be pretty bad way to live society, right?
That's true. Punished when he's sick.
Yeah, well, you lose your job. Why? You got sick. Sounds like my mom.
Why?
Yeah, because when I was sick in South Africa, like my mom hated it, right? Like you'd get sick and then you'd come and tell her, like, Mom, I'm sick. Why are you sick? Why are you sick again? I don't know. Like some kind of blame used to get thrown. I always used to feel really bad about getting sick and very guilty. So sorry, Mom.
Like when I get sick, my mom is not, oh, sorry for here. Like my mom will say, oh, look at your immune system. It's so bad.
You know, when I got shui though, the chicken pox as a
chicken
kid,
pox.
my mom took me to school. I told her, I didn't even know really what chickenpox was, but I saw these things. I was a young kid, man, and I saw it. I said, Mom, I think I've got chickenpox. No, you go to school. I remember walking in, and I was late, and they were having, do you know, assembly? They get all the students together.
Yeah.
As I walked in the door, the teacher looked at me and said, turn around, leave. She could see it. Went back and my mom was still there at the car or something. I was like, yeah, I got chickenpox. Yeah, she was pissed, man. She was not happy with me. So yeah, I got in trouble for being sick when I was a kid.
Oh my.
Yeah, so but
So tough.
all right. Well, anyway, luckily he got money.
Yeah,
right? Luckily
Alex,
he
and
can
keep his
stay, so,
visas.
yeah, good for him. All right, we'll be back with our next segment shortly.
Yeah.
Right, and if you like our content, please like, share, and subscribe.
帮我们按赞、分享跟订阅吧。
Right.